folks, Ariel over here. This is on my way away from Nyth. I am back east right at the moment for the Homesteaders of America conference, which just wrapped up this evening actually. Anyway, I drove there, which is rather a long drive, through lots of very empty highways like these, pretty clouds in the sky. Drove till I was tired in the evening and then slept in my cozy little bed in my van after dark, and had a safe trip. This was the sunniest part of the trip because, well, then I drove in the dark some, and then I got to Nebraska, which is still a long ways from my house. Anyway, a lot of the drive was very wet and rainy, or at the very least cloudy and drizzly if it wasn't completely pouring, but thankfully I had a safe trip and made it to Pennsylvania. I wanted to spend a little bit of time with some of my siblings and parents and nieces and nephews and a few friends while I was in the area, because if you didn't know, I did grow up in Pennsylvania, which is not too far from Virginia, where the conference I was headed to is. So, oh yeah, there were some very crowded roads in places too. Anyway, so I made it there, got to, after spending 2 nights in the van. As you can see, I'm traveling east the whole time, pretty much on Route 80 the whole time. If you've ever driven that route, it probably looks familiar. And there was a lot of rain for quite a majority of the trip. So I got to Pennsylvania, got to go see everybody. This was a little less complicated when they were all little kids and all still at home, but now that they're all, adults and most married and have children of their own and all that stuff, it's a little more complicated to arrange everyone's schedules to go see everybody. But that was fun. I'm glad I got to see them. My one niece I hadn't seen since she was born. Got another nephew on the way here shortly, and it was just fun to spend time with all of them. Anyway, as you can tell, I did make it the whole way there. It's a rather long drive, about 32 driving hours from my house. And so then I got to go to everybody's places. Went to my brother and sister-in-law's first. Got to meet my little niece for the first time. I think she's a pretty adorable little thing, but I suppose I could be a little bit biased. Anyway, it was fun to see her learning to crawl and giggle and starting to stand up and all of that fun stuff. And even though wildlife photography is definitely my main photography hobby, other than doing videos for you folks, it was a lot of fun to get to take family portraits and baby photos for all of my siblings that are in the area.
Where'd she get to? Where'd she get to? I don't know where she is. Bill. You're silly.
There you got it.
Daddy.
There you got it.
Are you just planning to put up AutoZone or what's the...
Next, I went to my sister and brother-in-law's place. Got to, again, hang out with their adorable little people and take a bunch of family photos and get the small ones to show me all around their world.
Wait, I take a picture on Weird Baby fish do-do-do, a baby fish do-do-do, a baby fish do-do-do, a baby fish. That mommy shark do-do-do, a mommy shark do-do-do, a mommy shark do-do-do, a mommy shark. Daddy shark do-do-do, a daddy shark do-do-do, a daddy shark do-do-do, a daddy shark. It was go hunting do. Wait! Turn it off!
Got to see all the fun things they're learning and doing and practicing, and walk around their little neighborhood and see all the awesome things my sister's been able to do with their very tiny yard. She has a couple chickens that provide all their eggs, and a small garden and room for the children to play and all of that stuff. There's also a park just up the street.
You're doing nice and gentle with him, Lexi. That's good.
And while my niece, as you can probably tell, is rather outgoing and very friendly, my nephew prefers to play by himself in peace and quiet a lot of the time. And he's a very cheery fellow too, with a very cute smile when he chooses to share it with the world. Then I went to another one of my sister's places where she and her husband are expecting a baby here shortly, and I am excited about that arrival. This is my baby sister. Went and visited a lifelong friend who's probably known me since I was born. He showed me some interesting sights like the largest sycamore tree in Pennsylvania. Look at those crazy long branches that would never survive in the snow in Wyoming. They just branch out in one direction. They've actually got it propped with a wood post there. And then if you look around the corner, there's another huge limb that goes over there. They've got it braced as well so it doesn't split. Kind of fascinating things. Got to drive down through the little town that I actually grew up in. See all the old brick buildings, and drove down the street where the house that I grew up in is. My parents have moved when I was in my teens, so they don't live there anymore, but one of my aunts and uncles do now. Then I headed the whole way into DC. This is where you get into really crazy traffic. Lots of people, very much not my thing. I have no interest in going to DC to visit DC. I've been there before in my life, don't see any particular need to go back, but one of my very best childhood friends lives there with her husband, and so I was very fortunate to get to spend a whole day hanging out with her and her showing me her very different city life, taking pictures together. If any of you are all in the DC area, she takes awesome family and baby photos, so you can check her out. And then I headed from there to my parents' place, where I got to spend a little bit of time hanging out with my mother and father, my baby brother, who is much taller than me now, and watch some of the again, it was rainy pretty much the whole trip. So I am at my parents' house, and it is raining, as it has here for much of the year, in the way that it does not rain in Wyoming. Check out that downpour. This is on top of approximately 50-something inches they've already got this summer. It's insane. It's too bad we couldn't have brought all this rain out and piled it on top of our wildfires all summer. But look at that coming down.
Living in a rainforest. That's what it seems like here.
My parents do have a pretty awesome garden set up. I'm actually going to have a tour of some of that for you guys to see what they did. So tune back in when I get it up to check that out. But that's a quick overview of some of it. And did I mention it rained a bunch? Anyway, got to spend some time with them and my little brother, and then headed down from Pennsylvania to Virginia for the Homesteaders of America conference. And I've got some videos coming for you all from there. So hopefully you enjoyed coming along a little bit on my trip to see family.
Thanks for watching, folks. If you're interested in more info on my off-grid tiny house life, check out some of my other videos here. And if you like what you're seeing, click the little picture of my house to subscribe, and then hit the little bell so YouTube actually notifies you every time there's a new video available. See y'all next time.